Assalamu alaikum students. I am Farhat Ali Naqvi and today we'll be starting with your biology course for the grade 12th. The book that you'll be using for this purpose is by National Book Foundation, Federal Textbook Board. Now, the chapter which we will be studying today, I will definitely send you the pages as I know that most of you don't have the textbook with you, and I have made a PDF of these pages and I'll be sending you after my lecture in these pages in PDF form. You can get it printed and then you can study from these pages. So no worries, no problems if you don't have the book. So chapter 14 which we will be starting today, that is respiration. Respiration is the process in which our bodies burn the food material in the presence of oxygen to release energy at cell level. The physical exchange of gases, the inhalation and exhalation and exchange at lungs level, that is known as external respiration, whereas the process which occurs at cellular level, it is known as internal respiration. You already have some background of internal respiration which we studied in grade 11th, chapter 4, bioenergetics. In this chapter you studied about respiration and its types, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. And in anaerobic respiration, you also studied about alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation. So, from biochemistry point of view, you are well aware about respiration, but today we will be studying about the anatomy of human respiratory system and its functioning and mechanisms. So today our topic is respiratory system of man. Before we formally start our lecture, we should be aware of the respiratory surfaces and their properties. Because if we have a respiratory system but we do not have the proper respiratory surface, the whole system goes into waste. The respiratory surfaces must have some important qualities. They should be moist and permeable. Gases can only be exchanged over moist surfaces and those which can penetrate through that surface. It should be very thin to allow diffusion, as diffusion can easily take place in a surface which is 1 millimeter or less. The surface area should be large enough so that a lot of exchange can occur through it. There should be a good blood supply. Rich capillary network should be present near the respiratory surface to allow exchange of gases. It should also be well ventilated. Well ventilated means that the gases, the air, it can easily reach it quickly and then leave, so that fresh oxygen is always there and carbon dioxide can always be removed. The human respiratory system, it is divided into two regions, the upper respiratory system and the lower respiratory system. The upper respiratory tract consists of nostrils, nasal cavity, and pharynx. The nose, the first part. Well, as you can see, it is the only part of our respiratory system which is externally visible. That is, we can actually see it. Now, the tip near the tip of the nose, you see that inside there are cavities or spaces which is referred to as the vestibule. The openings are referred to as nostrils. The nasal passages are made up of bones, cartilage, and fatty tissue. Now, the external nostrils, as I told you, that they have cavities at the tip which are referred to as vestibules, and there is a bone in the center which divides the nasal cavity into two parts. That bone is referred to as the septum. Now, the inside the nasal cavity, in the vestibules and in the nasal passage, there is presence of hair, mucous membrane, and cilia. The cilia, hair, and mucous membrane trap dust particles and other pathogens like bacteria, virus, etc. They trap them, and then these are removed by the beating of the cilia in passed into the pharynx, and from there into the digestive tract, and they are removed from our body as waste. The pharynx is the next part of the upper respiratory tract. This region is cone shaped. It is a passageway that leads to esophagus and larynx. Esophagus is the tube which from where the digestive system starts, and larynx is the voice box which lies on top of the tracheal tube and produces sound when vocal cords are stretched and vibrate. So, the beginning of the lower respiratory tract, it starts from larynx. So, both the digestive and the respiratory tract openings are present in the pharynx, and they are guarded by a small structure, cartilage, which is known as epiglottis. It helps in transition from opening of the respiratory tract or the digestive tract. The pharynx, according to its regions, is divided into nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. The region in the nose is nasopharynx. The region in the esophagus, near the esophagus, is the in the mouth cavity is the oropharynx, and near the larynx is the laryngopharynx. In the lower respiratory tract, we find trachea, that is the windpipe, which allows air to reach the lungs. Now, this tracheal tube is made up of muscles and cartilage. The cartilage are C shaped bones, and they keep it from not collapsing, it remains open throughout. And the guarding, as I told you, epiglottis is the cartilage which, when it is drawn upwards when we are breathing, and it is pushed downwards when we are in the process of swallowing the food.